Welcome to Chapter 4. We are on Part 2 to a field guide to lucid dreaming. I am not feeling great today, so I am going to have my husband read. He is the author of this book, which you should check out. We're selling it on Amazon and in the Kindle store where it is free. But I am going to hand this over. I forgot to bring the chair in. I'm sorry. Want to take my seat here?
Yeah.
All right.
Otherwise, I have to hold my phone. So you hold my phone.
Yeah.
Here. You join it.
You want your little beach?
Hello.
Hello.
All right. We've reached part 2 of this book. Packing your bags. And we'll pick up where we left off. When we first took the journey of the dream world and learned how to become lucid, the process wasn't very simple. We found numerous books and websites on the subject, each offering a laundry list of techniques. We felt that these sources of
Sorry.
I guess there's a delay.
No, I had to just join now. Okay, go ahead.
We felt that these sources of information didn't speak to us. Many were too academic in tone and focus. The ones that weren't dense and complicated seemed to lack a straightforward path. They would offer many different options and let you experiment and see what worked. We found ourselves lost in the jungle, trying this way and that. In the end, we did learn to lucid dream and discovered brilliant techniques along the way. But looking back, we saw that the road doesn't need to be all that complicated. As your guides, we don't want you to go through the same laborious process.
I'm sorry. Hold on.
We've decided to boil down all the numerous techniques out there and present to you only the best. As we ventured forth, it's important that we give you a well-equipped toolbox filled with the basics of lucid dreaming. We won't tell you more or less than what you need to know. In this section, you will learn how to reconnect to your dreams if you have lost touch with them, as so many of us have. You will learn the single most powerful technique for inducing lucidity. By the end of this section, you'd be ready to jump into your own subconscious and start exploring it. Take your time. To master lucid dreaming, you need first to remember your dreams, learn the art of a good intention, and build a healthy suspicion of reality. It's just like learning to sail a boat. Before you become an expert skipper, you need to learn how to steer the boat, how to catch the wind, and what to do when you capsize. Master the boat, and you shall master the sea. Ahoy, dreams. We've explored the idea of what dreams are, but when do they happen? Let's scribble 3 letters onto our clean and empty blackboard. REM. No, we're not talking about the 90s rock sensation. We're talking about the stage of sleep where dreams occur. These modest letters couldn't be more important for a lucid dreamer. Let's find out why. Back in the early 1950s, Eugene Asterinsky was dead broke and trying to support his family. Even though he never obtained an undergraduate degree, he had managed to convince the University of Chicago to let him attend as a graduate student. Dusting off an old EEG machine found in the basement of a university building, Asterinsky hooked electrodes to the scalp of his son, Armand, studying his sleep patterns. The young wannabe scientist took note of some curious readouts. During certain periods of the night, Armand's sleeping brain would suddenly shift, as if the brain were wide awake. Asterinsky had a good idea what was causing this anomaly. His machine was broken. If I had a suicidal nature, this would have been the time, Asterinsky recalled. I was married, I had a child, I'd been in universities for 12 years with no degree to show for it. I've already spent a couple of years horsing around on this. I was absolutely finished. But after several more studies with additional subjects, the anomaly seemed to be real enough. He brought in a veteran sleep scientist, Nathaniel Kleitman, and the two began to notice that during the stage of sleep, the heart rate and breathing quickened and blood pressure rose. They noted that about 4 or 5 times during a given night, their subjects' brains would suddenly shift, like a radio changing frequency, to a very active and wakeful brain state. At the same time, the subject's eyes would move rapidly back and forth under the closed lids. The result of these experiments led to one of the biggest breakthroughs in the scientific study of dreams. The two men proved that despite previous thinking, dreaming is not synonymous with sleep. Dreaming occurs during a specific time within sleep. When it was time to name their discovery, they did what any self-respecting scientist would do and gave it an incredibly boring name: rapid eye movement, sleep, REM for short. However, even with a dull name, the discovery was profound. The bridge between the waking world and the dream world was found in the eye of the beholder. Science had figured out when we dream. One brain, two worlds. The dreaming brain might be more similar to our waking brain than we think. Professor Linos and Perry at New York University argue that REM sleep and wakefulness are essentially similar brain states. The only difference is that the sensory stimuli coming in during the day our experience is shaped by the sensory input coming from the external world. But when we dream, our attention is turned inward. Our thoughts and memories become the active agents in creating our experience. REM and stages of sleep. While we don't know for sure why we dream, we do know some science about the nature of sleep. Throughout the night, we cycle through two main phases of sleep: non-REM and REM. Non-REM, also known as slow wave sleep, is characterized by slow brain waves. Imagine it like a roller coaster. We rise and fall between different stages of sleep, like the up and down journey of a thrill ride. In the beginning hours of sleep, our REM, dream time, is relatively short, 5 to 10 minutes at most. Most of our sleep occurs in non-REM. However, as the night progresses, the amount of time spent in REM increases. By morning, the other stages of sleep disappear, and depending on how much sleep you get, your last two REM stages can last up to 50 minutes each. Here's how a typical night goes. Stage 1. As you lie in the bed and begin to feel your body dozing off, you are already entering the first stage of sleep. This stage is the bridge between our waking and dreaming selves. During this transition, you may experience images, lights, and other sensations, which are known as hypnagogic imagery. This is the time when you may experience hypnotic jerks, those random twitches you get where you kick or spasm just before drifting off. A natural occurrence that your dog or spouse may know all too well. This stage is commonly known as twilight. Think more Rod Serling than vampires. Step 2. This is your body's prep stage. You've already fallen asleep, but you aren't quite in the deep sleep yet. Toward the end of this stage, as you prepare for deep sleep, your body begins to lower, your heart rate as well as your core temperature. Things are beginning to slow down. No dreams here, my friend. Stage 3. Welcome to repair mode. At this point, you're in deep sleep. Like a computer rebooting itself, your body is rebuilding muscle and bone mass, making repairs to organs and tissue, and strengthening your immune system. We then begin our ascent back toward waking and away from deep sleep. Like a roller coaster, we climb back up to the level of stage 2, then 1, then ... REM stage. Finally, the fun stuff. Your brain is buzzing with activity and it seems like you're about to wake up, but the roller coaster plateaus and you enter the sweet spot, the dream zone. In fact, your brain activity is so similar to being awake that if a scientist was only monitoring your noggin, he or she would have a hard time knowing whether you're awake or dreaming. You just entered the most important stage for lucid dreaming, the very seat of the dream. All aboard. It would be hard to catch a train if you didn't know when it was leaving, but if you know the departure time, it's easy to jump on board before it pushes off into the distance. Similarly, it's important to know when REM sleep happens because that's when you're dreaming the most. To a lucid dreamer, this information is pure gold. If you know when you dream, you can home all your lucid dreaming energy at that one target, increasing your odds of hitting a bullseye. Deliberately catching your last cycle of REM sleep is one of the best tools for inducing a lucid dream, one that we'll come back to in the coming chapters. The last 15-minute cycle, those dreams in the early morning hours, is where our journey begins. Quick summary. Dreaming occurs mainly in what is known as REM sleep. When we enter REM, our brain shows patterns similar to wakefulness. With no external stimuli shaping our reality, we turn inward, creating our own experiences from our thoughts and memories. Knowing when REM occurs, we will be one of the most powerful tools for inducing lucid dreams. So that's all about REM sleep.
Very good.
Interesting.
Anyone have anything to add?
You did a great job reading that. Can you hear me?
Bravo.
No more echo.
Yeah, I went upstairs. Sorry.
No, okay. That's better actually. So REM is the window and where you can have a lucid dream. And like they already mentioned, early morning REM sleep, kind of like when you start to wake up and then go back to bed, that's one of the easiest times to catch yourself in a lucid dream because your mind is more active and you can kind of easily become more aware that you're dreaming now that you already are kind of awake.
That's also the time that I have like the most vivid dreams, even if I'm going to lucid dream or not. Like if I wake up, smoke, go back to sleep like an hour later, like my dreams are always pretty wild.
All right, I'll continue on the chapter 5 then, since that was a pretty
That
short
was a
one.
really short chapter.
All right, chapter 5 is called The Power of Intention. And the quote here is, "Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes." Carl Jung, or Jung, which is
I think it's Jung.
founder of analytical psychology, truly a modern day shaman. Shaman? Oh.
Shaman.
Sometimes when you stare at something long enough, it seems weird to you to say it that way. I don't know.
I know that.
All right. Some people are natural lucid dreamers. For them, being aware during the dream state is something they did as a kid and continue to do throughout their lives. For others, it must be learned. When we started teaching people how to lucid dream, we were surprised by a recurring event. People would often have their first lucid dream just after discovering that lucid dreaming existed. It was as if once they knew to look for it, it was much easier to find. It makes sense, doesn't it? In the early 1950s, the world record for the mile race was over 4 minutes. It had been floating just above the 4-minute mark for over 10 years, and the public didn't think a man could physically run a mile faster than that. But on a windy May Day in 1954, Englishman Roger Bannister broke the record at 3 minutes, 59.4 seconds. Only 6 weeks later, an Aussie named John Landy broke Bannister's record with 3 minutes, 58 seconds. Then later the same summer, Bannister and Landy went head-to-head in a dramatic race-off. Bannister narrowly won and reclaimed his record. Today, we're still pushing the boundaries of what's possible with a world record held by Hikam El Garoj. Very sorry I'm mispronouncing that. At a whopping 3 minutes, 43 seconds. It's tough to bushwhack through a dense forest, but once the path is cut, others can follow much more easily. Before you can achieve a goal, you have to know what the goal is and if it's possible to achieve. You have to set an intention. The same holds true for lucid dreaming. Once you set an intention to go to sleep and wake up within your dreams, it becomes much easier to do. It's all about cultivating the strong desire. This guide will teach you the tools you need to achieve lucidity, but nothing is more useful than having the burning desire to become lucid. Whether you want to remember your dreams, incubate a specific dream, induce lucidity, or master any other technique, intention is key. It is the foundation of lucid dreaming. So, what is intention? An intention is a purpose, a goal, a directed thought toward a specific action. We set intentions all the time in waking life: to eat healthier, become physically fit, work less, play more, learn a new language. When we lack intentions in life or in dreams, we sometimes wander meaninglessly and without direction. We become vague and unspecific about what we want. How many of us struggle with this problem when it comes to our careers or our personal lives? When we're clear about what it is we want, it's a whole lot easier to go out and get it. Don't worry, we won't ask you to jot down all your life goals. Fortunately, you already know what you want: to become lucid in a dream. With this clear desire in mind, let's look at the most effective ways to set an intention. The power of thought. Have you ever heard of athletes mentally rehearsing an important part of their practice? Well, it's possible that this isn't just a superstition. Science is finding out some pretty interesting stuff, proving just how influential the mind can be over its surroundings. A study was done in which skiers were hooked up to an electrotraumograph, EMG, an instrument that measures the activity of electrical waves associated with the skeletal muscles. The skiers were asked to carry out mental rehearsals of themselves skiing. The skiers were then told to visualize themselves performing their runs on the slopes in their mind's eye. What the researchers found was that their electrical impulses of the athlete's muscles were the same as the ones they used when they were actually skiing. The brain sent the same instructions to the body whether the skiers were simply thinking of a particular moment or actually carrying it out, writes Lynn McTaggart in the Intention Experiment. Thought produced the same mental instructions as action. In other words, their brain did not differentiate between a thought and a real-life event. Gyung Yu, an exercise physiologist at the Cleveland Clinic Foundation, was also interested in the power of thought. All you couch potatoes out there, listen up. He found that simply imagining exercise can significantly increase muscle strength. You read right. He had a control group go to the gym, work their biceps, while another group simply imagined doing so. By just thinking about doing it, the average subject who imagined the workout had increased muscle strength by 13.5%, while the subjects who went to the gym increased muscle strength by 30%. Throw away the gym membership that you never use anyway and stick with some focused thought. We don't need scientific experiments to tell us how powerful thoughts are. Our lives are run by the intentions swirling around in our heads. Even a small goal, such as baking a cake, begins with specific intention in mind. You first imagine what ingredients you'll use, the different steps along the way, and how delicious the cake will be when it's done. Larger goals, such as starting a business, need more passion and specificity, but the process still begins with an intention, a burning desire to get what you want. For us lucid dreamers, not only do clear, passionate, and specific thoughts prove essential as we explore our dreams, but they are often necessary to becoming lucid in the first place. A young mind. We've gotten to know a lot about. Sorry, this text really is really small sometimes, but we've gotten to know a lot of lucid dreamers, and many seem to share a similar quality. They are confident and often playful. Many young kids and teenagers are talented dreamers because at that age, they don't recognize their own limits. They haven't let reality harden into its concrete mold. We can learn something from these youngsters. We can focus on creating and imagining instead of doubting our abilities. If we treat it like a game, what could go wrong? How to set an intention. Another quote. You can have anything you want if you want it desperately enough. You must want it with an inner exuberance that erupts throughout the skin and joins the energy that created it in the world. Sheila Graham, gossip columnist during Hollywood's golden age, never got over F. Scott Fitzgerald. A strong intention is filled with passion. What dream author Robert Moss calls juice. It should be soaked in electricity, powered by excitement. An intention is a bird in your stomach fanning your flame with each flap of its wings. Stop for a moment and realize the profound nature of lucid dreaming. Imagine how incredible it would be to wake up in a dream, head into your own inner universe, to walk around and explore. With complete self-reflection and conscious freedom, you can do anything you want. Excited yet? Follow these steps to set an effective intention, but remember that an intention isn't a mathematical equation. It's a heartfelt desire. 1. Wording is key. To be most effective, an intention should be highly specific. Create short, powerful statements that focus your desire. These are commonly known as affirmations. Your affirmations should be clear and direct. If you say, for example, I would like to someday learn the piano, well, then someday you might. A specific version of that idea is, on Tuesday, I will start piano lessons and learn scales before June. Try phrasing your intention in the present tense as if it has already occurred. For example, before bed, say to yourself, I am lucid and aware in my dream. Thinking in the present tense eliminates any doubt that your wish will come true. 2. Feel it, see it. All you Harry Potter nerds out there know this spellbinding lesson. Words are meaningless unless you actually feel them. I will become lucid in my dream tonight. When you state your intention, picture your desire coming to fruition. Actually imagine yourself in a dream, realizing that it's a dream. It might be helpful to think about a recurring dream that you have and pretend that you're back in that very situation, visualizing the internal world and the inner world that surrounds you. Feel what the sensation is like, that exciting aha moment, I'm lucid. Engage all 5 senses. Imagine breathing dream air, flying, looking around. The more clearly you can imagine, the better. When you were a kid, you played make-believe. You probably imagine yourself battling dragons. By seeing the dragon in front of you, by feeling the excitement of the battles, by allowing yourself to be lost in that moment, it was real. 3. Expectation. An advanced lucid dreamer doesn't just go to sleep hoping that a spontaneous lucid dream will happen. Instead, he goes to bed looking for a lucid dream. In other words, he expects to wake up in his dream that night. You sleep every night and dream for about 2 hours. Multiply that digit by days and weeks, and suddenly you've got a lot of practice on your hands. 4. Make it your dominant thought. Throughout this guide, we'll often ask you to use an intention before bed. It's important that those thoughts, feelings, and affirmations be the last things on your mind when you go to sleep. If you find yourself thinking about something else, simply let those thoughts go and gently bring your mind back to your focused intention. I am lucid and aware in my dream. Concentrate on your intention until sleep pulls you under. This way, your desire will carry over into the dream world and produce the exact results you were hoping for. Gratitude. How can we expect something to happen if it hasn't already? One word, gratitude. Feeling thankful before something happens is a very powerful creative force. It's not some mystical mumbo-jumbo nonsense. If you're thankful for something in advance, it has already happened in your mind, eliminating any stress and fears that come with the unknown. As you visualize yourself in the dream, in the present moment, imagine yourself looking around at the dream world in front of you. Give thanks for the lucid dream prior to actually experiencing it. Even say out loud, thank you, and let those goosebumps run down your spine. Ah, feels good. I caught a big one. An effective intention is all about bringing the future goal closer to the present moment, like a fisherman reeling in a fish, dragging it through the water toward his boat. The better the intention, the less space there is between you and your goal, the more real and tangible it is. All that is required to become lucid is to go to bed with confidence, expectation, and intention to realize when you're dreaming. You are dreaming every night, unconscious and unaware that you're inside a dream. Begin now to look for awareness in your dreams. If you do, you might be surprised to actually find it. This is one of the greatest paradoxes. The very thing for which you are looking for is actually essential to finding it. Chew on that one for a while. Summary. Many people have their first lucid dream directly after hearing or reading about it. The mind doesn't know the difference between a thought and an action. Therefore, it's important to mentally rehearse becoming lucid. Visualize yourself in a dream, feeling the excitement of recognizing the dream state. Feel a sense of gratitude that you have experienced a lucid dream before having one. When setting an intention, make a simple phrase to go along with, such as, I am aware and lucid in my dream. Cultivate a strong desire to lucid dream and make such desires your dominant thoughts before bed.
Is that the end?
That's the end of chapter 5.
I have some things I want to talk about.
Good. I was
Actually-
hoping you were gonna say some shit because I don't like what they said about just imagining stuff.
Well, okay, so the first things first is the gym thing about going to the gym versus just thinking about biceps exercises and how they gained 13% on their muscle size and their probably overall muscle strength. They were probably involuntarily flexing their muscles as they were thinking about those exercises and activating them, which would account for that 13% gain. That even being said, I wouldn't throw away a gym membership over 13% muscle gain. That's it's a very small amount. And 33 isn't huge, but over a time period, that number, plateaus even. So, but you still get different benefits from going to the gym, such as socialization. The second thing I'm going to talk about is, and that's more of a if so facto from Skylar.
I liked it. Good job.
The second thing I want to talk about is the willing, if you will, just breathing and thinking and like saying I am lucid, I am, as in the present tense. That's the same as if you were manifesting something. So that's the same techniques people use for manifestation. So it's very similar to exerting your will onto the universe.
Right. So he's basically like manifest your lucid dream.
Can you see the red light? No, you can't see the red light.
I see a flashing light. There's the red light. But yeah, back to the muscle thing. Like the mind muscle connection. They say when you work out, you're supposed to like visualize the muscle getting bigger as you work out. So I don't know why he went with, I hope it was a joke when he was like throwing gym membership.
Obviously it was a joke. Obviously
okay,
it was a joke.
I don't know. I have that,
Obviously it was just a ha 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 ha, 13%.
But he should have been like, so do that and work out to increase your gains, bruh.
Yeah, jokes and text are difficult to decipher unless the book straight out says, hey, I'm a funny book and everything I say is a joke.
When I read the reviews, somebody said it was funny. So I was like, oh, okay. Prepared for jokes.
Well, it sounds like he does have jokes, or they do. I don't know. Was it a dude or a chick who wrote this? Or
it's like 3
a
men,
non-binary person?
Sure.
Yeah, it's Dylan, Jared, and Thomas. So it's 3 guys.
3 guys.
What did you think, Nick?
I think they should have for one, I think they should have made a third group who went to the gym and thought about it, see if they got even bigger. But 2, I also think that intention, you do have to, kind of always expect you're going to have a lucid dream, but just as important, I feel like it's the whole idea, I guess they're going to get into later about, asking if you're dreaming and like recognizing common things you have in dreams. Like if there's a certain thing that, is like, oh, I'm dreaming because every time I dream, like, well, for me personally, like guns don't work. Guns will not shoot. I just pull the trigger, nothing happens. I know I'm dreaming. Yeah.
Why do you have guns in your dream?
He always does. He's always
Where did
fighting.
My camera go? Why did my camera turn off? It was weird.
Mine keeps turning on and off, my voice too. But yeah, he's always fighting in his dreams, aren't you?
Yeah, but you know what? That's usually a good trigger for me to recognize. But the second that I realize I'm dreaming and I'm lucid, I just start trying to fly. And that's a fun thing to do.
Well, I've never lucid dreamed, so.
Never, ever?
Never, ever.
You've never been like, oh, I'm in a dream and then did something on purpose?
Nope.
I very rarely, maybe once or twice. And I also flew when I realized I couldn't, and then I woke up immediately.
Nope, never had a lucid dream. Not saying that I can't. I'm trying.
I'll be honest, I'm kind of a skeptic when it comes to when it comes to lucid dreaming, like being like what all these people say is or could be, where anybody can just go practice their speech that they're going to have to go do in the astral world and then be able to go do it. Like, I don't think I feel like most people are not able, I don't know if anybody, but I think most, the common person is not able to have that level of control over their dream. So I'm skeptical about that.
I think that the easy part is having the lucid dream. Once you get to that point, the hard part is staying lucid. Once you realize you're lucid, your mind just kind of wants to be like, go back. You need to let me have control again, and send you off into another dream or wake you up. It's weird.
Mhm. Yeah. The mind does not like you to be lucid in the dream. It seems.
Anything else?
That's it. I'm done.
All
My
right,
head
we're
is
done.
hurting. I'm sorry.
Well, thank you all for joining us on this very enlightening book talk, book club meeting.
Story hour? We're still
Story
working on
time?
the title.
Oh, I'm wearing a Black Jade Society t-shirt. You can't even see
Oh,
it.
you
So
are?
you can't even see it. So, hey, we have merch.
Go to blackjade.org. We have merch, we have books, we have engraved stuff now. Come see what we got. Help us make awesome events for the community by purchasing stuff. Good night.
Good night.
Come shut this off for me up here, Blue.
Just hit leave.
This is not, I